Hey, welcome to The Explainer. We're going to dive into a question that sounds kind of simple, right? But the answer? Oh, it literally reshaped the world as we know it. I'm talking about everything from how we build our families to the way we actually think.
So here's the big puzzle we're going to solve together. Why is it that for so many of us, the idea of marrying a cousin feels, well, just wrong? It's a deep-seated taboo. But then you look around the world, and in huge parts of the globe, it's totally normal. Sometimes it's even encouraged. This isn't just some random cultural quirk, you guys. This is a story about a massive, world-changing split in human history.
And right off the bat, here's the first major twist. That feeling we have in the West, that's the weird one. It's the exception, not the rule. What a lot of us assume is some kind of universal human truth is actually pretty recent and pretty localized. For most of human history and for most people on Earth today, marrying your cousin was and is the default setting.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we gotta jump in the time machine. We're going back to a time when, pretty much everywhere on the planet, marrying your cousin wasn't just normal, it was practical. It made sense. Let's look at a couple of huge examples to see what I mean. First, stop Imperial China. Back then, marrying your cousin was just how things were done. If you were a noble, it was a power move, right? A way to lock in alliances and keep the family strong. And if you were a regular person, a farmer, it was just smart. It kept the family farm, the family wealth, all together, instead of splitting it up with every generation. And it wasn't just in China. Let's hop over to the Viking Age. Totally different part of the world, but same story. For the Norse, the clan was everything. Your whole world revolved around it. So marrying within the family was how you kept that clan tight, how you kept the bloodlines pure and the loyalties unquestioned. It's all over their sagas, their laws. It's just what you did to build a powerful, lasting family. But then, things started to shift. Both of these massive cultures, China and the Norse world, started to turn their backs on this ancient tradition. And here's where it gets really interesting. They both changed course around the same time in history, but for totally, completely different reasons. Two paths diverged. Okay, so check this out. It lays it all out so clearly. On one side, you've got China. Their big turning point came during the Tang Dynasty, and the reason was internal. It was all about Confucianism, this deep philosophical idea about creating order and preventing chaos in the family hierarchy. But then you look at the Norse world. Their change came from the outside. It was the arrival of Christianity, which brought with it this whole new set of rules, canon law, that basically banned marrying your relatives. And in China, this wasn't an overnight thing. It was a super slow burn. We're talking 1,000 years. It started as a law during the Tang Dynasty, all based on these Confucian ideals. But over time, that law seeped into the culture. It became a social stigma. By the time you get to the 20th century, the idea wasn't just illegal. It was seen as old-fashioned, feudal, and people even started talking about it being biologically risky.
All right, now let's pivot to the West, because the story here is completely different. This wasn't a slow creep. It was a full-blown revolution. And the group leading the charge? The Christian Church. They basically launched one of the most massive, and you could argue successful, social engineering projects ever. So what was the engine driving this whole thing? It was a really radical new idea, this spiritual family. The church started teaching that your blood relatives, your clan, they weren't your most important family anymore. Your real family was the family of all Christians. Your primary loyalty, they said, should be to your brothers and sisters in Christ. And make no mistake, this was a deliberate three-step plan. Step 1, redefine what family even means. Get people thinking about the spiritual family first. Step 2, ban marriage between kin. This was key because it stopped the clans from just marrying each other and hoarding power. Step 3, force people to marry outside their clan. If you have to marry a stranger, the old clan loyalties start to break down, and you replace them with a new loyalty to the church. And when I say they were aggressive, I mean it. At one point, the church banned marriage out to the 7th degree of kinship. 7. That means your 4th, maybe even your 5th cousins were off the table. Think about that. This had nothing to do with genetics. This was social engineering on a scale the world had never seen before. Absolutely wild. So this revolution, it was about way more than just marriage rules. It fundamentally rewired the entire operating system of Western society. It actually created a whole new way of thinking, a new kind of psychology, and it's what paved the road for the modern world we live in today.
Anthropologists have this awesome term for what happened. They call it a kinship jailbreak. It's like the church's rules broke people out of the prison of their own family. Before, your whole life, your identity, who you trusted, it was all determined by blood. But after this jailbreak, for the first time, you start to see the individual emerge. And the downstream effects of this were just massive. Once the clan wasn't the center of the universe anymore, the focus zoomed in on the nuclear family: mom, dad, kids. People had to learn how to trust strangers, which is what allowed things like guilds and universities and cities to even exist. Society became less about who you know and more about what you can do. This is basically the foundation of modern Western psychology. Okay, so we have to go here. This is a really sensitive but really important question. If this whole marriage revolution led to things like universities and modern science, did it also create some kind of genetic advantage? Did it literally make people, smarter? The answer to that is a hard, unequivocal no. Absolutely not. The research is crystal clear on this. This was not about changing DNA. So here's the key takeaway. It's not about the hardware, it's about the software. The marriage revolution didn't change people's genes. It changed the environment they lived in. It built a world, a whole new kind of society that pushed people to think in completely different ways. Think about what this new world looked like. Suddenly, you've got widespread literacy. You've got universities popping up. You have complex legal systems you have to navigate, big cities, trade networks. This is a world that rewards abstract thinking. It rewards trusting people you're not related to. It rewards learning on your own. The old clan world just didn't need that stuff. This new world demanded it. It basically changed the entire playing field for how the human mind develops. And what's so wild is that the echo of this ancient revolution is still with us today. You can literally see the footprint of this decision made 1,000 years ago on a modern map. I mean, look at this. The line is it's shockingly clear. The parts of the world today where there's a strong taboo against marrying your cousin, they map almost perfectly onto the places where the Western Christian church held sway. And everywhere else, in the parts of the world that didn't have that specific influence, well, the old human norm, the ancient way of doing things, it just kept on going. So that leaves us with a pretty mind-bending final thought, doesn't it? A single idea about family, dreamt up in the Middle Ages, went on to completely alter the path of history and literally shaped the way that millions of us see the world. It really makes you wonder, right? How many of the other things we believe, the things that feel so obvious and natural to us, were actually designed by someone a long, long time ago for reasons we don't even remember anymore?